Welcome to Avid Retro. I thought this would make an interesting video. I've been on the lookout for some capacitors for a while, and obviously if you buy the branded ones there's a bit of a high cost involved, and for the sort of stuff that I like to fix I thought it wasn't really worth spending too much. So I came across this 500 piece pack, and it contains everything from very low values, so 0.1 microfarad up to 1000 microfarads. I'll just show you the listing. So this is how the box presents the capacitors, and we're going to see if it's anything like this and whether or not these are true values. So I'm going to randomly test a few and see if they're any good or not. So just looking on here, it goes from 0.1 UF up to 1000 UF. So for power supplies it's quite handy to have the larger value ones, because that tends to be an area that needs fixing lots of the time. And then obviously the small ones, again, are used quite a bit on power supplies, particularly JVC are a bit notorious for using a lot on there. So for those, you know, the 100 UF would be ideal. And they kind of cater for the middle of the road in terms of voltage. So I think it only drops down, is it down to 10 volts or so? So a lot of them are 16 volts, right up to sort of 50 volts. Yeah, 50 volt ones, that kind of swayed it for me. On the listing it does look like they are rated for 105, which is important for power supplies. For just under £9, this is what I've got, and I think I'm going to have to cut into this. It's quite a quick ship from China. Must be one of these express ones where they're almost ready to go. So indeed it does mention the right range here, 500 pieces, not suitable for children under 6, and there's some pictures up here, and they do look to be various types in here, various colours. Let's see if there's any mention of branding. It's obviously very important to get some with a decent temperature rating, so you would want the 105 centigrade rating across all your capacitors, especially when you're mucking about with power supplies. So these green ones, I've got a feeling, are going to be a bit cheap and nasty, so it'll be interesting to see what they read. They're just marked SGF. Sorcon. I'm just going to randomly pick up some and see what they say, if they say anything. That's a jacket. This one says low. Oh no, low ESR. Now that's quite handy, if that's true. Chong Viet, low ESR. Kenisha, so that's KNSCHA SHG. Samson. They do seem to be a bit of a mixed bag in here, don't they? JURCC. That one. That one's quite hard to tell. Smaller ones. Tricky as well. JUNZL. So they are really a real mixed bunch in there. So I wonder how old these are. I'm tempted to look at these bigger capacitors just because they're a bit easier to work with in terms of testing. So I've got one of these little testers. So they are really quite good. It's just a case of sticking those probes in like so. It doesn't matter what one goes into what, as long as they hold. And then just grab a leg. we're looking at 1000 here. $523 UF. That does sound a long way off, doesn't it? Yeah, I wouldn't be that confident with those. Choose another green one. $292. That's a bit closer. Alright, let's try a 10 UF. It's nice that these have the key information, corresponds with the right compartment in the box. So this is a 10 UF, and it is a 10. Have a look at these 680s. They're quite a handy one. Certainly soldered a few like this in before. And that's 616, so again, that's not so bad. So let's try this 220. Yeah, okay. So that's 224. Very close. So I'd be quite happy with some of these. I'm going to dig a bit deeper. Right, let's try another one. So this is another 1000. $853. Not a million miles away. But I think with any of these, before you solder anything in, just take their values first. Just make sure that you're happy that they will be in the right range for you. I'll just do maybe a couple more. The other thing as well is if you're replacing capacitors, you can obviously desolder them, test them. If they're still reasonably okay, just solder them back in again. Only replace the bad ones. This one is 45.97. So not too bad. So here, for instance, these 47 UF, they're all fairly small anyway. Do you really need maybe all of them for your applications? So there's a 10, a 25 volt and a 50 volt. Obviously you could use these if you've got plenty of room on your circuit. Doesn't matter that they're high voltage, but there's a lot of repeater values there. Again here, so I've got 470 and then a 470 at 16 volts. I don't think I did that one, did I? I've forgotten what I've tested now. That's 445, so that's nice and close to reading. So definitely need testing before use. I don't think they're too bad. Not really. How long they last is another consideration. If it's something that's easy to solder in again, then maybe it's worth a risk. Yeah, this one's very close, 988. So it's just shy of 1 UF. Well, if you stay and subscribe to my channel, you will probably see me use some of these capacitors on some of my future projects in future videos. So please like and subscribe, and I'll make more videos in the future. Bye for now.